Welcome back, fight fans. This is Rizzo Striker with Knuckle Up News. Today we're doing a fight prediction. This is the 7 reasons the Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor fight will happen. Now, here at Knuckle Up News, this is what this channel is set up for. This is a crossover channel in itself. We do boxing as well as mixed martial arts, and we have no problem covering either, and we see no contradictions in covering both. I love fighting, we love fighting, and most boxing fans secretly like mixed martial arts. And you can't lie, a lot of mixed martial arts just has to include boxing. It's one of the disciplines needed to be successful in MMA, and Stipe Miocic proved that last night. Shout out to Stipe Miocic being the new heavyweight champion in the UFC. So let's cover it. This is the 7 reasons the Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor fight will happen. This is Knuckle Up News. Reason number 1, of course, the money. It's always about the money. These are both prize fighters, though being from different fighting disciplines. They've both, one of them has even got money in his name. And Conor McGregor has said time and time again, he's about his big paychecks. And even in the last fight, before the last fight with Nate Diaz, he said he didn't care about the belt. It was about the cash. So regardless of what the haters of this fight say, regardless of what any of the critics, it will be a huge draw, whether you like it or not. Whether you say you're not going to pay for it or not, somebody will. You know why? Because people pay to go to the circus. Okay? And this definitely is a circus fight. It's kind of like the Ali fight where he fought that Japanese dude who basically laid on his back the whole time, kicking Ali in the shins, in the knees. And, people paid to see that. And we live in a day and age now where, personalities are even huger. And these are 2 of the biggest. So, yes, it's about the money. And people pay to go to the circus. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2. Billionaires usually get what they want. Mayweather, he's close to a billionaire, if not a billionaire already, and he wants this fight. You can tell by the way he's talking. When it came to Pacquiao, one of the reasons why a lot of people thought that he was ducking Pacquiao years back is because he seemed to avoid the topic. He would get offended sometimes. I mean, kind of like when you're looking right now with Canelo being constantly hounded about fighting Triple G, you see people get offended, and sometimes that sets off the trigger that this person's ducking this other person in question. But Mayweather's doing nothing but the opposite. He even said, hey, I started the rumor that this fight could happen. So it seems like he's already got his promoter's hat on, and he's pumping this fight, and he's keeping it in the airways. Also, aside from that potential billionaire, the Showtime billionaires, as long as they want the fight, the last holdout is the UFC billionaires, the Fertitta brothers. These guys are casino magnates. This is going to be a huge draw. There's no reason why they wouldn't want this fight other than possibly thinking they won't get the lion's share that they want, as far as maybe a pride thing, because everybody's going to get paid on this, even if it's a 60-40 split between like Showtime versus, UFC or something. But I mean, the money would be so astronomical. I don't see any reason why any of these billionaires would pass up on it, except for one reason in particular, and that's the product of Conor McGregor himself. Conor McGregor having a boss, still currently with the UFC, being under contract, this may damage the brand of Conor McGregor being such a huge draw and being somewhat invincible. So that could be the only reason to hold it back, but I doubt it. I mean, a fight like this is so huge, the potential so huge, that regardless of what happens, either one of these fighters afterwards, Showtime and the UFC, can make out like bandits. That's reason number 2, this fight will happen. Reason number 3, Conor wants to be a legend, and this would also be his biggest payday, without a shadow of a doubt. Now, I don't believe in the figures that the initial figures of somehow Mayweather gets 9 figures and McGregor, for taking such a risk in a boxing match, would only get like 15 million or something. Though that's a lot of money, there's no way that UFC or Conor McGregor would take that small of a purse. It's just not going to happen. That could be one thing to stop this fight from happening is, Mayweather's ego and his people just simply wanting way too much of the pie. But I think that definitely can be worked out, especially when the metrics really get ironed out and they can see that, hey, look, both of these guys are going to draw, especially fighting each other. So reason number 3, Conor McGregor, he wants to be larger than life. He already feels he is, but this would really, especially a victory over Mayweather, this would just, he would just have his ass kissed from here to the moon for the rest of his life, even if he fought Nate Diaz again and lost even worse. Because if you beat Mayweather, you're just the man, period. Everybody who doesn't like Mayweather wants to see anybody beat him, whether it's a heavyweight, whether it's a UFC fighter, whether it's his mama, his daddy, just, the haters of Mayweather want to see him lose. So that's a huge incentive on top of the money for Conor McGregor, and this would definitely send him into legendary status. And that's reason number 3. Reason number 4. Conor McGregor still wants to prove that he's bigger than any other fighter on the planet, whether boxer or MMA, period. Especially bigger than any of the UFC's champions. Plus the money from this fight, he hopes will get the UFC off his back, so they'll stop treating him like any other fighter any of their other 500 fighters. That was part of the problem with this UFC 200, is that he felt, hey, look, I've earned enough money for the company. I should be able to sit out some of this stuff, especially when I could just tweet, and that's advertisement enough. That'll sell the fight right there. But that's an arm wrestle that Conor will lose because he doesn't hold the keys to the company. Though he feels a fight like this and the money it would draw some more money than probably any other UFC event ever. I'm pretty sure of that, even though it is a circus fight and it's not an MMA fight, it's a boxing match. Conor knows that this will get the UFC off his back and have him treating, or this is the way he feels, this would definitely put him on another echelon above any other fighter before or since. And that is reason number 4. Reason number 5. Floyd Mayweather, just listen to him. He is seriously promoting this fight. He keeps complimenting Conor McGregor. This is something he does kind of like he did with the Berto fight. Everybody knew Berto had no chance of beating this guy. But when you got your promoter's hat on, you got to pump up. You got to pump up who you're fighting to get people to pay for it. Otherwise, they'll just wait till the next day or wait for the next week when it re-airs. Or they'll simply stream it. I've mentioned that before already. This is part of the new media. You also got the consumer that's part of the new media. And so if the fight doesn't seem worthy of their paper, worthy of their money, people ain't going to pay for it. And Mayweather is right now, he's promoting it. He's upselling the fight. For all you salesmen out there, you know what upselling is. And he's upselling. He's saying, I couldn't overlook this guy. You've heard Mayweather say this stuff before, when basically he knows he's going to win. If it's a boxing match, he knows he's going to win, but he's upselling the fight. And without a doubt, McGregor has always a puncher's chance. The guy hits hard with the 4-ounce gloves. Of course, it'd be larger gloves in this fight, but nonetheless, Mayweather, just listen to the way he's speaking. And go back to some of the old YouTube videos and clips of him talking about Berto, talking about Maidana, all these other fighters that people didn't really want to see. Like when the Pacquiao fight was already signed and they were about to fight, you notice Mayweather shut the hell up. He had nothing to say because the fight sold itself. Right now, Mayweather is selling a fight that hasn't even inked yet, which leads me to reason number 5 why this fight will happen. Reason number 6. Conor McGregor does not, I repeat, does not respect Floyd's power, especially with the larger gloves. Conor is naturally also the heavier man and probably thinks even if he loses by a decision, it would be a victory. It'd be like a moral victory, seeing that it would only be a boxing match in which he's supposed to lose. So since he doesn't respect the power of Mayweather, there's no threat of danger probably in his mind. And I think that's a mistake on Conor McGregor's part, if that is indeed what he does believe or will believe going into the fight. But it makes for an interesting bout. I think Mayweather hits harder than any of his championship competitors believe he does until they get in that ring and they get counterpunched to death, and he hits them with those straight rights and those, check hooks, and changes their mind in the middle of the fight, and either they become kind of a dull fighter, and Mayweather gets the blame for the dull fight because they don't want to pull the trigger anymore, or they turn into the Ricky Hattons and wind up eating way too much damage and want to get knocked out or close to being knocked out. So I believe that Conor McGregor doesn't respect Floyd's power, and so that gives him a strong incentive to step in the ring. Hey, look, you could step in the ring with, and make $30+ million fighting, I'm just throwing a figure out there, but I think Conor McGregor could get at least $30 million for a fight like this. If you could step in the ring with a guy, you're already a combat expert yourself, you got a chin. He proved he does have a chin. I mean, he took a lot of shots from Nate Diaz before he got wobbled. And, you're making $30+ million for a fight, something you already do, and take those risks with a guy who you don't think can even damage you, who's smaller than you. That's a huge incentive, and that's reason number 6 why this fight will happen. And last but not least, reason number 7 why this fight will happen. Floyd Mayweather wants to do crossover promotions. He not only wants to promote boxing, but he also has stated very recently, matter of fact, that he also wants to promote UFC fighters, or MMA fighters in particular, but I think he said UFC fighters, and he wants to see them get paid more money. And I think there's probably a plan of his and Al Heyman's, I'm sure, that they've kind of sat and thought, and it is about the money, but there's a potential that he also does want to kind of cause a kind of a mutiny within the UFC, especially after Dana White and company have taken so many jabs at Floyd Mayweather. I believe there's some, there's an undercurrent to all this. But nonetheless, this, if nothing else, will get him a foot in the door. A fight like this, to be able to do those crossover promotions and promote UFC fighters as well. So that's reason number 7. I believe this fight will happen. Is finally it's dealing with the promotions. It's a means to an end, and those are the 7 reasons why this fight will happen. Tell me what you think. Leave some comments. Give, thumbs up, thumbs down if you think I'm way off base, or whether I'm in the general ballpark. Let me know. This is Rizzo Striker with Knuckle Up News. Subscribe.